Today we're going to remove the mower from this Enduro GS tractor and install a 3-stage snowblower. So you have to understand, I've never taken this off before. I've never put the snowblower on. I have the manual and we're going to go from scratch. And so this is going to be basically an experiment in how quickly and how easily someone who has never had experience with this tractor can remove the mower and install the snowblower. So we're just going to have the instruction manual. Nobody showed me how to do it. Let's see how this goes. One thing Cub Cadet has going for him is that the hood is easily removed. So we're going to get this hood off here and give me some wiggle room. Ended up getting the drive belt off was to put my foot on this and push against it, and at the same time reach up under there and take the belt off the drive wheel, the drive pulley here. So I'm going to take this hanger off the front. First thing we have to do is remove the mower, and it looks pretty familiar to me. It's got these spring-loaded pull hooks here that'll drop it from the draft links. It's pulled out, so we'll get the other side. Their muffler is extremely close to the pulley. If you push up on the muffler a little bit, you can get just enough space to do this. So that's a reminder to me to make sure you never do this after you've run the motor for a few minutes, otherwise you will burn yourself. So make sure that it's cooled off before you start messing with it. Once you've removed the drive belt, take your deck lift and put it in the the topmost position. That'll get these rear draft links out of the way of your mower, and you should be able to pull the whole thing out from the side. I remember in my younger years, I would laugh at people who had the dealership either come out to your house and switch attachments in spring and fall, or who brought their attachments and the machine into the dealership and had them swap the attachments. These things get heavy as you get old. All right, I've got the deck put away and everything's cleaned up here. I do have the manual for the blower, so let's see if we can get this on. There's a carriage here and a push plate with a bunch of bolts in it. So let's see if we can get this. One thing that surprises me is there's no wheels on the bottom of this for mobilizing it around your shop. And I'm used to John Deere, where they've got little wheels that go down the bottom that help you guide the machine into place. And then when it's mounted, you take the wheels off and put them on a higher level. This doesn't have those, so it's all Armstrong. Brought my dog with me for moral support, but he's left me high and dry. Thanks a lot, buddy. This right here is your carriage support. It only goes on one way. That's the tractor. You'll see these holes that are pre-drilled. So we're gonna hang this up in there. The thing I really do like about this tractor is you can get your body under here. There's plenty of room. This on the manual shows that it goes on the outside of the left side of the tractor and the inside of the right side. There was 11 hex bolts to put that push plate on with nylon lock washers. Interestingly, I remember in the military they said those nylon lock washers were a one-shot deal, and so you put them on once, and then when you took them off, the integrity of the nut was compromised, so they weren't really that good to reuse. This is what Cub Cadet has on these, and I'm not a bolt engineer, so I can't tell you yes or no. I can only tell you what I was told in the military, and they said the nylon hex lock nuts were a one-shot deal, and Cub Cadet wants you to keep reusing them. So whether true or not, I don't know, but there's 11 bolts that you have to put on up underneath, and so you're kind of hanging up underneath and you're like doing this, and you might want to bring a lunch with you when you do this because you're going to be under there for a few minutes. The next thing we want to do is slide this unit underneath and get everything lined up. We're going to take this lever right here, and it's already popped out, so it's going to go in a hole that's already on the push plate we just installed. So I'm going to get this in and see if I can get under there and jockey it into position by myself. Once you get this jockeyed into position, you can just put these guys in right here. And you may need to pry on it a little bit to get the holes to line up perfectly, but it's not too bad. But you definitely need something to pry with to get that in there. And so what we've done now is we've put this bracket here. This is your push plate. This right here is the frame of your snow thrower. It locks up over this tab here. You line these up, and now you're all hooked up on the back. Let's get the front hooked in. At first you think you gotta lift this whole gizmo up to hook it on, but when you come around to the right side of the tractor, you squeeze this and that'll release this here. And so there's a spring on it, but if you hold it like this, so we're holding up on the lift lever here. This right here, it gives you the ability to one person connect that on there. Once that's done, you put your cotter pins in. And then we go around to the other side and do the same thing. With everything installed, the last step is to get this belt up and over that power takeoff pulley. And the way to get slack, it says to put a ratchet on the idler and push on it, and then you'll get slack. Well, my arm's not that long, so we're gonna have to. Here's my ratchet on there. I'm gonna push this in like that, and that'll give me room like that, and so that'll hold the arm in there. Now I've got slack on the belt. Be very careful not to get your fingers between the belt and the pulley, because if you like your fingers, that would be a good way to lose them. All right, let's give this a TRY. Let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. The belt really went off pretty quickly. Just a couple closing thoughts. I hope Cub Cadet's listening. The whole deal with you have to mount this extra plate under there, it's kind of a pain, because then in the spring you got to take all that off. There's 11 bolts under there. You got to take that whole thing off to put your mower on, and you shouldn't have to add all this stuff on. It should be a couple of release pins and that's it. The belt went on remarkably simply, so that wasn't a problem. I really think there's two things that I would improve upon this snowblower. One, it ought to have wheels on it that like John Deere has, so you can maneuver it, and that push plate deal underneath is kind of a pain. Other than that, it's a 3-stage snowblower. My brother said this thing will chuck snow about 50 feet, which is great. It looks like it's a good quality machine. You know, you've got serrated edges on it, augers on both sides. The way a 3-stage snowblower works is you've got these outside edges that'll bring the snow in. The center unit right here brings it back to the impeller, and then you've got an impeller down in here which throws the snow. And these tall chutes are a must, because that gets the snow all the reach it needs. Plenty of shear pins on it. There's shear pins everywhere on this thing. The trick with snow blowing is, if you have a gravel driveway, you want to make sure that you've got the skid shoes down, which brings the cutting edge of the snowblower up. If you've got a tar driveway, you raise the skid shoes up, and then the cutting edge is down. You can put optional drift knives on these to cut through the snowbank. This is about 20 inches right here, so my experience with snow blowing here in Maine is that you want to kind of keep up with snowfall as it's coming down. On occasion you'll get really behind and you might get 2 feet of snow, but snow blowers work the best if you keep up with it. So every few hours during a heavy snowstorm you go out and kind of work through it. I really think this is a quality machine, other than those two things I mentioned. So hopefully this has been helpful, and like I said, this is the first time I've seen one of these, first time I've touched one, and it took a couple hours, but mostly I had issues getting the mower off and taking care of that, and then getting that plate up under there, because you have to crawl up under the tractor. So hopefully this has been helpful. I appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, please take a moment and subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you next time.